Welcome back to The Difference. If it's your first time here, my name is Jamil Frazier. We are here with my guy, Tony Aguilera.
Yes,
we were just having fun about how do we pronounce his last name? Listen, I've been building businesses for the last 10 years. I've been investing for the last 10 years, starting with nominal investing into real estate, investing into the stock market, then lending money, and then investing in what we do now as angel investors into early stage companies. And I wanted to take the last 10 years of the mindset that I've learned when it comes to building businesses and investing into the market and condense that down into a nice, easy form so that you have it and it saves you a ton of time. So on today's episode of The Difference, we're going to be breaking down the 7 Ds, which are the 7 mindset traits you'll want to have as you're out there building your businesses and building your portfolio. So, Tony.
Yes, sir.
We are in the house.
Yep.
Man, we've been having a lot of fun.
Honestly, yeah, it's been a lot of fun, dude, because I'm so used to following you and other people around with the camera to just have it sit there and just have it be stationary and just sit here and chop it up.
We're here. So we're in the new location right now.
Yeah. The new house. How do you feel about the new crib? Right? Because I mean, you've been at the other house a lot longer than when I first showed up. Mm-hmm. But we talked about it a little bit outside yesterday. Yeah. Like now you signed a 5-year contract.
Yep. We're here. We're gonna be here.
Like what you think? What's your expectations? What are you most excited for? What are you least excited for?
Yeah, well, I think what we were talking about, and I think what the audience probably can pick up on too, is the funny thing about building life, building wealth, all that stuff is I think we're always kind of chasing the carrot. And that's something that we have to self-identify and be self-aware of what is too much. And I think for me, like you asked me yesterday, what does it feel like to be in this house? This is basically the second house that I've lived in that's a $3 million house. $2.8 million house, right? Excuse me. But it feels like nothing. It's just a house.
Yeah.
But if you would ask me 10 years ago, right, that would have been something that I was chasing. And that's why I say I think the goalpost moves, or you just get used to the thing. I mean, look at you right now. You're probably in some regard praying for a lot of the freedoms that you have right now. And once we start to have it, it's just like, like I'm sitting here, I'm on this dope podcast. We're doing this stuff. We're visiting people all around the country. We're interviewing them. We're doing all this stuff, right? So I think I'm mostly excited for my family. You know, we wanted to be in a place where the kids can settle down. Obviously want to find really good schools for them and want my wife to feel settled. But for me, man, I could be anywhere. I can live anywhere.
Yeah, we talked, it's funny that you brought that up because we talked about that yesterday and there's something I did forget to mention. But you talked about how, right, the last 10 years you were building your health and wellness organization and now we find ourselves, I say we because, we're on the team with you, but we find ourselves kind of like, not necessarily starting from scratch, but like reinventing something entirely new for us, right? Yeah. And I asked you or even you, I think you told me, you're like, dude, I just get to a place where I need to just pretend or tell myself that I have zero money in the bank. Yeah. And something just flips, right? So, but it goes along with what you were saying, how you look at this house now, 10 years ago, you probably would have never imagined yourself.
Oh my God. I couldn't imagine being in a neighborhood like this.
And so I remember when you said that you kind of have to tell yourself dude, I'm broke. Because the moment that you do, something's just going to go off inside of you. And I remember getting to that point where when I got let go from the gym and I was gonna make a decision to move back with my grandparents and not have to worry about paying rent or anything, but the comfortable
Right.
comfortability. But something just clicked in me where I was like, nah, I can't. I'm not gonna go back.
Yeah.
You know, and I've told you that it's so crazy how everything came about, but I literally like would get up every morning, right? I would go hit the gym. The moment I would come back, get my stuff ready to go and walk door to door to different restaurants or different businesses and be like, hey, I'm a content creator.
Sure.
I'm new to the Imperial Valley. Like, I want to shoot you a free commercial. I'm not charging you nothing. All that I ask is that if you post it, let's collab on the post,
Right.
and just tag me and tell your friends.
That's it.
And it was just something that like, and that's where even when you first told me about that, it kind of gave me chills because it reminded me of that moment.
Yeah.
It reminded me of like, oh shoot, dude, what am I gonna eat next week? Like, you know, like I just pay my rent, thank God, like, you know, but like no one's gonna do this for me. It's not gonna just fall into my lap. And so I love that you said that yesterday because even on my drive home after leaving, I was able to reflect on that.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, like I literally like hoped and wished for an opportunity like this. And so I just want to say thank you because
man, thank you.
because that for me, reflecting on that on the drive home, I was like, dude, at one point, you know, you forget because you're so busy and you get to a place where, you know, things are flowing smoothly. That, like how you said, you text your mom yesterday, dude, or the night before, right? When you brought the kids home, and it was one of those moments where now I'm like, dude, you know, thank you for the opportunity. And I just remember being in that struggle and being a different dog at that time.
Sure.
That I want to say I'm right there with you. It's crazy, but something just clicked inside where I want to get to that point again.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you. And I appreciate it. But you got yourself and you put yourself in a position to be found. And I think that's a big part of what I'm going to talk about today with the 7 Ds. But I mean, before we, you know, the universe brought us together, because you're putting yourself out there, you did work for Jeff Garcia, the ex-NFL quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
And I think part of the psychology with me, but for most people too, and we were talking about that, perception is reality, but also you want to put yourself in the right rooms. And part of the work that you did for Jeff Garcia, I'm not saying I'm on Jeff Garcia's level, but once I saw that and I was like, oh, he's done work for Jeff Garcia. Jeff Garcia has built millions and has made a name for himself. I feel like we've done some things too. If he's good enough to go shoot for Jeff Garcia, then he's good enough to come rock with us as we build Think Life is Different. So you did that, right? Like you put yourself in a position to be found. And I think for the audience that's really listening to this, like I'm going to jump in today about the last 10 years of building a business. You guys know that I got started with building a direct sales network marketing business. And I think, a lot of people feel like you can't be successful with those type of companies or in those type of industries and stuff like that. And that might be true. It's just not my truth. Like we were able to absolutely crush it to where we're building, hundreds and millions of dollars of revenue. And it put me and my family in a position to start a company like Think Life is Different, to go out and find people and teammates like Tony, and to be able to travel around and interview all of these people that we're interviewing to really find out really two things. One is what makes them different. How have they been able to scale millions? How have they been able to build businesses and have huge exits? And how have they been able to be the top 1% in whatever it is that they do? So that's the one question that we ask. And the next question is, what is the difference? Right? So like, what makes you different? So let's jump into it. So here are the last 10 years from me building an organization, from me launching Think Life is Different, from us selling over 60,000 books, from us, like I said, this is the second $3 million house that we've lived in. Like, how does all that stuff happen? So I'm going to take the last 10 years of mindset, the 7 Ds that I call them. And I think it's going to be really, really good for our listeners as they are out there building their businesses, building their portfolios, because it's all the same. In fact, before we jump into it, yesterday, which was yesterday was March 3rd or something?
4th.
March 4th. Okay. So yesterday, the stock market had a really, really crappy day. And the S&P 500 dropped like 3% or whatever. So why did I then move over $200,000 and deploy that into the market? Part of that is by learning the 7 Ds that we'll break down today. So I think it's going to be really, really good for the people that's watching or listening. So the first D is...
For the record, I like when I walked into his house, like that's one of the first things that he told me. I was like, "What's up, man? How's it going?" He's like, "Oh, it's good, good. I just put 100,000 into the stock market." I was like, "What?" All right, cool. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah,
but it's true. I mean, it's true. So I'm gonna condense 10 years into like the next 40 minutes with these mindset traits. And you've already talked about the first one. The first D is decision. So you made a decision that I'm not going to work at the gym anymore. Like, I have this skill set. I'm a great content creator, right? I'm a great videographer. I'm a great editor. I deserve to be able to get this thing up. I deserve to be able to partner with the people that I want to be able to partner with. And I'm not going to stay here anymore because it's not my calling. It's not my destiny. Like, I believe God's called me to do bigger things. And so I'm going to go out and I'm going to do it. And so that decision is the fundamental D that really drives everything. And I even think back to like, even what we're doing right now with Think Life is Different. Like, I've had this company since 2019 and have done absolutely nothing with it. And then Amanda and I went on vacation to Tulum in Mexico in September. And I remember like she got us this great villa, like the ocean was right outside of our room. And we just chilled for 7-8 days or whatever. And I remember during the course of that week, I did a couple podcasts. Like I think I did the Black Man's podcast, shout out to them, and did some stuff. But I made a decision that, okay, when we get back to the States, then it's really time to launch Think Life is Different and to go in. But that came down to a fundamental decision. When we talk to the guests that we talk to, what we see is that they have made a concrete decision. And I think the hard thing about a decision is you don't know if you made, like, it's hard to know if you made the decision or a decision, right? The decision or a decision. And yesterday you and I were talking about, I made a decision to really get Think Life is Different going, but I haven't made the decision to really take it to where it could be taken to. And what I was telling you yesterday was a part of not making that decision yet is what you were talking about, which is comfort.
Yeah.
Right? So the interesting thing about comfort is, bro, we can get comfortable on every single level that we're on. Right?
Yeah.
Like when I was on welfare, right, Section 8 housing, we got comfortable. We got comfortable with the $800 that, you know, we were getting. I think it was $1,100 a month that we were getting from the state of California and from the federal government. And we got comfortable. Like when I was in, you know, pharmaceutical sales and I was making freaking $55,000 a year. Like even with that, I was making 55. Amanda, my wife, was making like 25, man. We got comfortable. You know, when I started earning 100 to 200,000 a year, even there, you get comfortable. You start making $1 million or more a year. Guess what? You can get comfortable. So I think that's what happens And I think it's natural, but I think you have to figure out a way to break through it, to break free. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I for sure agree, especially because like I haven't, made the amount that obviously you guys have, and not yet. But it's for me. I look at it for this whole like weight loss journey that I did,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I legit used to have to roll my ass out of bed, 540, 560 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And it got to a point where I would stop breathing in my sleep, right? Sleep apnea. I had a mild stroke. I was like hospitalized with COVID. I was terrified, dude, because one of the, they said if you had underlying conditions, like
Right.
we had more of a chance to like die if you got COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully enough that, that wasn't the case, and I'm very grateful for it. But even that didn't like scare me into making a decision.
Mm.
It wasn't until, I had that mild stroke, and I remember looking at my nephew and I was like, man, like I want to be here in the next 5 years.
Mm.
And so, but I got to a place where I didn't allow myself to become comfortable up until like you hit like a certain plateau
Mm-hmm.
where it's like you're almost like on cruise control, right? So when I lost my first 100 pounds, dude, I was stoked. I was like, heck yeah, like I was feeling good, like, and then once I made it down to 300, I was like, oh, heck yeah, like even better, like, and when I got to 250, that was like my lifetime goal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, if I would have never, actually 300 was my lifetime goal.
Mm-hmm.
But when I got to 250, I was like, oh, dude, like I'm fitting in clothes that I haven't worn since like junior high, freshman year.
Right.
But I say that because the decision, right, like to do that, you get down to a place where you get comfortable,
Mm-hmm.
and then you start to gain a little bit of it back.
Always.
Or you, like how you said, like you're comfortable, and you start to kind of get thrown off on your daily schedule,
Sure.
certain responsibilities, or just like your mindset and your tenacity kind of like, it doesn't go away, but it does kind of slow down a little bit.
Right.
Where now it's like, all right,
Mm-hmm.
you said it yesterday, you're like, I just need to log back in.
Well, yeah, because I don't think that, like that. I think that there's a fallacy that's out there that like, oh, I'm going to maintain. I think you're either getting a little bit better or a little bit worse, right? Like I'm getting a little bit better with my health journey or with my investing journey or with building my business, or I'm getting a little bit worse. I think it's so micro though that sometimes you can't see it until it becomes a macro, right? But I think we all have our own internal barometer of what success is for us. And I think that we set that based off of lots of different factors, but probably the biggest factor is environment, like who's around us. And so, like, even for me, I remember when I remember going to a conference and my buddy was speaking on stage, gave me VIP tickets. I'm in the front of I'm in the VIP lounge area while they're doing this whole conference. Now, in the first row and the second row, there's all these like presidents of companies and CEOs and entrepreneurs and all these people. Some I recognize, a lot of them I didn't, from the tech world, all the stuff. It's hard for me to see myself as somebody who even deserved to be sitting in those first two rows. I just don't see myself that way, which I think is something that I'm trying to work on, but do it in a way to where it's tasteful, right? It's not boastful. It's not egotistical or anything, but just having higher opinion of myself. So I'm sitting next to this woman who has a guy sitting right next to her. And they did this, they asked us to do this assignment, which they asked us to pretend that our annual income was our monthly income. Well, at the time, I was probably making maybe 1.5 million a year. And I'm like, oh, That's good. Right? Like I'm feeling good about this assignment, bro.
Yeah.
I'm feeling really good. I'm like, oh, like
1.5 a month?
yeah. I'm feeling good about it. And so afterwards they asked you to partner up. And I'm like, yeah, like, and they ask you to get with a couple people that's around you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I turned to the lady, and the guy who was sitting next to her turned to another guy who was on his right. So I'm with the lady, and she goes, I didn't really do the assignment. I was like, why not? And she says, because I'm the assistant of this guy. And I was like, well, okay, and I was like, well, are you using his numbers? And she was like, yeah, I'm using his numbers. And I was like, so what would his number be monthly? And she was like 6.8 million. And Tony,
my God.
And I'm like, oh. And what I realized was he ran with a different circle. He ran with a different environment.
Yeah.
My environment is and was a great environment, but it got me to this level, right? Just speaking economically.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different levels, but just speaking economically, and I'm grateful for that level. His environment called him to a higher demand, which was 6.8.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that's why I said comfort can set in at every level. Because even if I'm in an environment to where, the people around me, maybe 250 pounds is like, that's as good as it's going to get. Like, if you're there, bro, you are the man.
Yeah.
Because in that environment, that's the top 1% in that environment or whatnot, right? But you might move into a different circle and they're calling folks to be 180 or whatever it is. And so I've realized that like our environments really determine what our goals are for ourselves. And once we internalize that and then set those standards, once we get close to meeting them and we meet them, then there's nothing more to strive for. It's like, bro, I did it.
Yeah.
I'm the man. Like I reached my goal. And then once we do that, we have natural atrophy. We stop doing the things that got us to the thing because I'm good. I'm good. I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
So how do we break through that then? Like how would you suggest somebody break through that atrophy and take it to the next level?
That's a good question. Off top right now, I mean, I would definitely like that's a great question where I would love to take time to actually like think about a response for that. But off top of my head right now, I can say like for me, right? I can say how I can accomplish that, how I can change that or whatever. Is when I first started, I was very big on celebrating my small victories. Right? Even now, as you just said, what you just said right now. 250 for me, that's like, bro, that's like lifetime achievement for me. Like, but the only reason why I even said it at 250 was because I had a plan behind that 250 to have like the skin removal surgery.
Sure.
Where I was like, dude, there's at least 30 pounds of loose skin on me. So that 250 was already setting me up to when I get my surgery, it's going to take me down to 220.
Sure.
Right. And to me, that was like a big deciding factor for me on not staying comfortable, right? Even now, like, pushing 260, 255 or whatever. But my still ultimate goal is once I get down to that 250, like there's already that backup plan or that backup goal that I'm shooting for, but I'm just preparing myself to get to that point. And so I think for me, what would really like change that for me is preparing for like the next step already while I'm like still in this new season. Right. So like 300, when I got even close, like 305, I was like, okay, my next stop is 250.
Sure.
Like, what am I going to do? What steps am I going to take to get me to that 250? because I know once I hit that 250 and I get the skin removal surgery, I'm gonna be down to 220.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was already steps that I was kind of setting in motion to get me to that ultimate place, even not even being at 300 yet.
Sure.
So I think in this terms, right, in terms of like, economical or whatever, I think it's important to really like break down the steps that are going to get you there. Like, and I think a part of it is, the circle of people that you run with.
Sure.
I don't think I would have, maybe I would have, but I don't think I would have gone as hard if I wasn't actually working at the gym. Like I had the opportunity to work 24-hour fitness. They gave me a job on the spot because the GM there found out about my story, right? And he was like, dude, I can use you. I can sell your story. I'm like, dude, I hate sales, but I'm down to work here. It's a free membership. So I bring that up because, again, I changed my environment. Like I knew that I had to be up at 4 a.m. to go open the gym so people could come in and work out. And I made a decision to do that, like, because I knew it was going to get me out of that comfortability that just because I lost a little bit of weight, I can just coast now. Nah, dude, actually, I loved being around the gym. I loved being around that environment because it's every single day I would see the regulars coming or I would see people come in and I would try and hype them up while that was also hyping myself up. And I was like, come on, like, what are we hitting today? Let's get it. Let's get it. And I love that environment, and I think that that's very healthy, and it's a great environment, at least for me, when I surrounded myself with it, because it's what kept me locked in. Yeah, And so in this case, I think that's a great question. I want to take that and I want to think about it because it's going to help me.
Well, I got some ideas about it. Part of how I got here is building a coaching organization that has served over 300,000 people at this point, right? And so a lot of it is coaching people to change habits. And one thing that we always use is a term called structural tension or structural dynamics. And that's basically, how can you create whatever it is that you want to create? So if you think about a rubber band and we stretch it, right, it creates tension, right? Just think about, dude, you're stretching it. It's only so far that you'll be able to take it because there's so much tension. But as you start to do the thing, right, you start to take those incremental steps to get closer. And let's just say this right here is where our current reality is. This is where we are, but here is where we want to go. So as we start to get a little bit closer to where we ultimately want to be, what happens to that tension?
It like loosens up, right?
It loosens up. It fades away. So by the time you get to where you want to get to, now I'm good. There's no more tension. There's no more frustration. There's no more pain. There's no more desperation. There's no more frustration, desire, right? It's because I met the thing. So how we break through it is simply create more tension by setting the next goal. What is the next thing? Okay, so I reached this, but what's the next thing, right? And the way that we can do that is, you said it, but I want to make sure that all of you guys understand it too, as you're building your businesses, your companies, your portfolios. The best way to set that next goal is to go to people who are higher than you or further along than you in that journey and put yourself in their environment. So you were saying it when you were talking about, oh yeah, like, I had these goals for my fitness journey and I implemented myself in actually 24-hour fitness. So where every day I'm watching people who are further along on their journey and they're inspiring me, it's encouraging me, and now I get to encourage other people. It's the same way in life. So whatever that thing is that we aspire to do or to be really, really good at, the best way to now create more tension is to put yourself around those people. Now, you're going to create even more tension because they're going to say something crazy to you like, bro, why aren't you turning your annual income into your monthly income? Like, why are you waiting all year to make $100,000? Why don't you do that this month? And that's going to mess with you, right? That's going to jack you up.
Yep.
And you're going to be like, you're even in that moment, it's not even going to make sense. You're going to go home and be like, what the hell are they talking about?
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, there's a way? And then that's going to, wait, there's a way. Okay, how do I do that?
Yeah.
Right? How do I do that? How do I get there? Okay, I just lost this weight, but this dude was like, why don't you start doing 5Ks? And that never entered my psyche. Like, why the hell would I do that? But now I put myself around these people or this hiking group or this 5K club or whatever it is. And now I just start doing that. And so we create more tension. And all that happens from, making that decision. So I love that. Let's talk about the second D. The second D is discipline, right? And we talk about discipline. We talk about things like self-control, self-regulation. You're self-directed. You have a firm hand with yourself. And I think one of the hardest things for human beings to do is to have constant discipline. And I think it's one of the hardest things, especially now that we're in this sort of microwave popcorn society. I want it right now. I don't have it right now. I don't get the dopamine effect, the TikTok brain. Like, it's not happening right now. It's not going to happen. It's taking too long. I don't want it. Right? I don't.
It's that Hot Pocket generation.
The Hot Pocket, man. The Hot Pocket.
Want
So
it done in 2 minutes.
What I love about it is the discipline, how I've learned in my own life. Like, when it's time to really go to the next level, which I told you yesterday, it's time to go to the next level, right? And so what I use for myself is I have a saying with myself, and I talk about breaking the pattern. Because we just get into these ruts. Like, the way human beings work is we pick up on patterns really fast.
Yep.
Really fast. I remember when I first lost my weight, right? When I went on my health journey, one of the hardest things for me to do was to drive to work. Sounds stupid, right? And that was so hard because I used to take 2 stops every single morning. One stop.
Where at?
Don't laugh at me now, right? But one stop, of course, was the Starbucks, right? Had to go there. And the other stop was the Burger King to get the breakfast sandwiches.
A little breakfast burger?
The croissants.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And so I had established that pattern for years. And now all of a sudden I lose this weight, right? I'm eating healthy or whatever. And to go to work, I got to drive down the street that I've driven down hundreds of times, and I got to bypass. I got to break the pattern of stopping at these 2 stops. One of the hardest things for me to do, right? But here's how you get a lot of self-confidence. Is you prove to yourself that you can do the thing that's difficult to do over and over again.
Yeah.
If somebody wants great respect for themselves and they want to get self-confidence today, all you have to do is say, what are the patterns that I do? Analyze them, become conscious of them, write them down. What are the patterns that I do on a daily basis that do not serve who I ultimately want to be?
Yeah.
And whether that's scrolling on social media or ignoring phone calls that you should probably be picking up, or, eating the wrong things or drinking the wrong things or smoking cigarettes or whatever you identify as not serving you. For me, it was watching freaking NFL football all week long. And if it wasn't on TV, I would make it be on TV by watching reruns. Right? Like, because that was my pattern. My pattern is I'm a football guy. I play college football. I got to, this is just what I do. But I was wasting a ton of time. So we identified the patterns that may not be serving us. And then if you want to build a tremendous amount of self-confidence, immediately, is you force yourself to start breaking the patterns. I stop at Starbucks every day. Why? Is that serving me? No. Is it serving my account? No. Is it serving my health? No. Is it serving my mentality? No. Is it helping me get closer to who I want to become or what I want to invest or who I want to be? No. Okay. So it's not serving me. No, it's not. So why the hell do you keep doing it? Because it's a pattern and it's really hard to break. Okay, great. Starting today, you're going to start breaking that pattern, and this is how you build a tremendous amount of self-efficacy and self-respect and self-control. Right now, you're self-directed. Now, Tony, here's the crazy thing. Listen to everything I'm saying as it starts with self. And I think what happens is when our businesses, our finances, our lives aren't showing up the way that we want to, then we often say it's because of other things that are outside of us. And what discipline says is, what can you do to change it? It's all self-directed. And I love that, right? So when we're talking about like, how do I start leveling up? How do I get to a place where I'm on the Difference podcast and they're asking me, what makes you different? The second D is discipline. What can you force yourself to do that you do not want to do, but you do it anyway? Right? I might be wearing that shirt. Like, your goals don't give a damn. Your goals don't give a damn about how you feel, but they do give a damn about you being disciplined and doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Right?
I love that. I love that. I'm going to let you get ready for that, the third one. But I just wanted to say really quick, it kind of ties in with who your circle is too. I remember at one point, one of my closest friends called me out on being so emotionally reactive. Like there was I want to say it was about a year ago. I had like an altercation with somebody, and I don't pride myself in being like the crazy fighter, right? Like I used to love fighting when I was in high school and junior high, and it was a way that I took out my anger and aggression from all of the childhood trauma. But I remember an incident happened, because I work at the club, and everybody was drinking and whatever. Long story short, the following morning, the boys and I would either go, meet up, get some breakfast or something, right? And I remember him telling me distinctly, and he was like, "Dude, I love you, but like you're too emotional. Like you're like, why do you?" He asked me this. He's like, "Why do you let somebody like get this emotion out of you? Or why is it so easy to push your buttons and to get you to react?" And again, I say that because I feel like, having the discipline, recognizing the patterns, but also I feel like it's important to have people around you that are going to call you out on your BS, right? Because they're giving you a different perspective about yourself, right? So like it's important to have those people that will call you out on certain things as well.
Sure.
And I personally feel like if they're not there calling you out on certain things, then we got to kind of see who you're.
Well, I think what you're talking about is another form of mentorship. I think when we make that decision to level up in our lives, one of the things that has really worked for me in my life is to get some sort of mentor or coach that cares more about your success than they do about pissing you off. Let me just say that again. Right? Because sometimes we want a friend. Very rarely do we want what you're talking about, which is like a mentor that's going to tell you what you need to hear for you to be successful, more than the fear they have of offending you. And we're such in a day and age right now to where if you tell somebody what they need to hear, then we're afraid of it being offensive. I got to watch what I say. I can't say it to Tony straight away. I'm afraid that he might be, his feelings might get hurt and we lose our friendship. And that's why I always used to ask people, man, I would say, okay, listen, if you're going to hire me as a consultant or if you're going to hire me as a coach, are you looking for a friend? Are you looking for somebody that's going to coach you strongly? Because if you're looking for a friend, then I'm not going to be that guy for you.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for somebody that's going to hold you accountable and care more about your success than would care about your feelings, then I'm the guy for you.
Wow.
Right? And you've heard me. You've heard me on calls. What did I tell the girl the other day?
Yeah. Like it was, what did you tell her? Like you're a slave?
Yeah. I mean, but what do you want? Because if you don't have that, then you're going to stay stuck.
Yeah.
Right? And you want somebody that's going to pull you and push you out of whatever comfort that you've developed for yourself. When it goes to discipline, like I remember when I first started my coaching organization, I said, no matter what, this is the amount of people that I'm going to talk to every single day. And I don't care if it's raining. I don't care if it's snowing. I don't care if my wife is yelling at me. I don't care if we go out of town. I don't care if it's vacation. I don't care. But every day I'm talking to X amount of people. I'm letting them know what I do and how we can serve them, no matter what. And I didn't want to do that, right? Like I absolutely didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
But that's where that self-direction comes in, which leads me to number 3. Number 3 is delay gratification, right? So we're talking about the 7 Ds that we must have in order to go to the next level in whatever it is that we do, but specifically in our businesses and in our finances with our portfolio. And I even think about discipline and delay gratification, it's especially when it comes to our finances. Listen, yesterday, I deployed $200,000 to invest in the stock market. How the hell do I have $200,000 to deploy into the stock market? Right? That would be a question that I would be asking myself 10 years ago if I was listening or watching it. How?
Yeah.
How? Like you say that so cavalier, because it is cavalier. But how? How is delayed gratification? You have to give up. There's a trade-off to everything. Everything has a trade-off, right? Greatness has a trade-off, right? Growing an emergency fund has a trade-off. Earning $100,000 a day or a year has a trade-off. Hell, earning $25 an hour has a trade-off. Yeah. You're literally being paid for your trade.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like I'm paying you for the value that you can trade for the hour.
Yeah.
There's always a trade-off. And in order for me to pay you X, Y, and Z, right, I need a trade-off, which is your time. Right? So there's a trade-off to everything. And I think what happens is a lot of times we get stuck in this world of, this balance or, I don't want to work too hard, or I don't want to be too uncomfortable. So the trade-off is, can you be disciplined enough? Can you delay enough gratifications to only live on 70% of your income? Right?
Yeah.
Like, so we're asking, how do you so cavalier, how do you say it with such aloofness and so truculent about, I deployed 200,000. Well, there's been a trade-off for the last 10 years. And that trade-off is, can I live on 70% of my income? And I think what happens most of the time, because of the lack of delayed gratification, is we live past our means. Right? And same thing even with our businesses. Like, we get to a point to where we say, we're just not willing to make the trade-off. We're not willing to delay a lot of gratifications right now and defer those gratifications to be able to, reap the benefits in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we see that all the time, right?
Yeah. No, I even now, like I'm sitting here like listening to it, and for me, because I'm not at that place yet, right, where I'm making X amount a month or whatever, I always go back to the whole weight loss thing for me, because that's a big deal. Uh, I remember there was a time where I was like in the gym and I was trying so hard to hit like this cardio goal where I saw it on TikTok, but it was funny because this dude's hook in the TikTok was like, lose all this weight by just doing this every single day for an hour. And I remember I jumped on the treadmill and it took me like 6 to 8 months just to get to the highest incline at like a speed of 3 for an hour. Dude, that thing killed me so much. Like I was so out of breath, and I wasn't one of those cats where I was like holding on to the rails while I'm inclining. Like, nah, I would put my hands behind my back.
Oh, okay.
Like legit.
Yeah, one of those.
Yeah, no, because I was so locked in, dude. And it's so crazy now, like thinking about it. But during those times, I would tell myself, "All right, you fat." Like just
talking to yourself.
You mother, like, you know, you got yourself here, so get yourself out of it.
Right.
But again, going back to the delayed gratification, I started in those moments, I would think about how I would just like be indulging so much in just like the overeating, the like everything, where it started like kind of like disgusting me, because I'm like, dude, if I just not eat a freaking California burrito on this day, and I go work out instead, in 6 months, like I'll be down to my goal.
Yeah. But
Like,
why would you do that?
why would I what?
Why would you defer the California burrito?
Because I knew that it was just gonna jack me up. Like it's gonna push me back. Like the thing, because I'm working so hard to hit this like PR, right? This goal, this cardio PR.
Right.
Dude, one California burrito would have ruined maybe 2 or 3 days worth, maybe more.
But why was meeting that PR, hitting that PR so important?
Because it was a goal that I set. Like it was just like, for me, I guess it was like the bigger picture. I mean, I don't know. Like, that's a good question. That's a good question. But
what's the bigger picture?
For me, the bigger picture was to get to that goal because I knew I was going to lose weight. Like, I knew that once I was able to consistently do an incline that high for an hour straight, oh, dude, I felt so good after it. Like, it made my entire day, and it made me actually excited to get into the gym the next day and to do it all over again.
And why'd you want to lose weight?
I mean, I wanted to lose weight because I honestly didn't see myself here in the next 5 years. And we're going on year 3. This is year 3 for me.
Right.
You know, and so, yeah, I honestly didn't see myself like surviving another year, another 2 years maybe.
And why is being alive so important to you?
That's a great question. I don't feel like I've accomplished much, you know? Like, I don't. I know even in the first episode, it's so funny, but we were talking about that. Like, in the first episode, I was so careful at like offending by using the word like victim. That, and you tell me all the time, like, that dude, you're like, T, if you would have heard me 10 years ago, I would have started blaming this person for that, for that. And I was on the same wave where I was like, dude, like, I'm this freaking big because, you know, certain family members wouldn't let me get up from the dinner table until I finished all my food. And then it got to the point where I wanted seconds, or like, you know, if a girl rejected me to go to a school dance, I would go home and just like
I ate a pint of ice cream because she rejected me.
Yeah, bro. Like, what?
Right.
What?
Yeah.
And so now I'm like in my 30s and I'm like, dude, I have so much more life that I would love to live. And so many more things that I want to accomplish, where I'm like, I feel like it's just starting to scratch the surface.
So what I'm doing with you is what we call playing the why game, right? And as we keep peeling back the onions of the why, right? Why are you on the treadmill, right? Why would you put yourself through that? Why do you want to lose weight? Why do you want to be alive, right? Why is it important to you that you haven't accomplished what you wanted to accomplish? Eventually, we're going to get to the thing that means the most. And so when we talk about delayed gratification, it is always, I'm going to delay what I want right now for what I want the most. So real fast, if you have not gone out and gotten my best-selling book, The 12 Shifts, I want to encourage you to go in and buy this book. I wrote this book for people that wanted to level up in their lives, that were searching for fulfillment, whether that was in your business, your finances, your family, your faith, and you wanted real tangible directions on how you can build your own framework to get there. It is something that you can digest in a couple days, but it's something that you can study forever. This book was a best-selling book within 30 minutes of us putting it out, and I want to encourage you to go on and pick it up and to share it with a friend. You can buy it in paperback version, or you can listen to the audio that I did, and I'll just even tell you a secret. And one of the chapters, I actually even sing to you. Let us know how you love it. Drop us a comment or shoot us an email. And thank you for subscribing, and thank you for being a listener. What I want the most. Always.
Yeah.
Right? And so we, as entrepreneurs, as investors, as men, as fathers, as friends and brothers or whatever, like, we have to get to a point to where we play the why game with ourselves.
Yeah.
What do I want, and why do I want it? Right? Because it's a constant struggle of, I always am going to want something that's going to compete with something else. It's called competing realities, right? So I want to lose weight, but I also want the chocolate bar. I want both of them.
Yeah.
I was just telling you, there's a chocolate bar right in there right now on the counter.
Probably still there.
It's probably still there. And I told you, every day I've been looking at it, and it's been looking at me. It's been whispering to me, Jamil, come eat. And I said, I'm not going to eat it. I don't care. I'm not going to eat.
Swipe me real quick.
Yeah.
Nobody gonna see.
So we have these competing conflicts. I actually do really want them both. I want to build the business, but I also don't want to work that hard. Right? I want to build the wealth, but I also want this new boat. I want both. And this is where people get tripped up, and this is why it's so hard to have delayed gratification, because I want both. So the question is, can you get to a place to where you figure out which one do you want, not just more, but way more?
Way more.
Way more.
Jeez. Yeah.
Because if I just wanted more, I might only want it more for that moment. If I want it way more, this is going to be something that I'm willing to I'm willing to go to the warrior place for, right? Because I want it so badly. And so how do we get there is we got to play the why game with ourselves. Why? Well, why? I want to be financially free. Why? Who cares? Like, who cares? Just stay where you're at. No, but I really want it. Why? I want to have millions in my brokerage account. Why? Right? I want to be in a freaking $3 million house. Why? I want to start a podcast. Why? And we have to go down this rabbit hole to really get to the center of that onion of what do I want and why do I want it? And once we have that, now I can start manipulating what I want more.
Yep.
Right? Do I want to sleep right now, or do I want to build a business that does $20 million a month in revenue? Right? Because there's going to be a trade-off. You're going to have to trade something.
Yeah.
And I think most people don't want to make these trade-offs, but there's no other way. If I build a company that does $20 million in revenue a month, I guarantee you there's going to be a trade-off in other areas of that person's life.
Yeah.
There's no other way.
I don't doubt it.
There's no other way. I'm not going to be going to parties. I'm not going to be coaching the kids' soccer team, right? I'm not going to be going to freaking Costa Rica with the boys. I'm not going to be hanging out. I'm not going to be watching NFL every damn day. There's going to have to be a trade-off.
Yeah.
Just like if I want to lose 100 pounds, I'm going to have to trade off eating like shit.
Yep.
I mean, there's no other way.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you do the Ozempic and, all the Wegovy and all the GLP-1s that people are doing these days, right? And no shade on anybody, you know, do what you feel like you need to do. But I'm just saying there's always a trade-off, always a trade-off. And I think if we can't get to that place where we really have determined what do I want, then there is going to be no delayed gratification. Like for me, bro, I put away so much money. I could have bought boats and planes, all the stuff. Like every single thing that I have on right now, I have no idea where this came from, but I guarantee somebody bought it for me. These shirts are from Think Life is Different, right? So I don't really need to pay for them.
It's a plug for the merch.
Get
merch
the merch
plug.
Get the merch. Going to get the merch. These pants, I have no idea where they came from. And these shoes, I think I bought for $35. Right? Like I could have all the top of the line stuff, but I've decided and determined what's more important to me. What's more important to me?
Yep.
Because there's gonna be a trade-off. And for me, in all those years that we're building over the last 10 years, is I just got, like in year one, I found out that building wealth and having financial security was more important to me than a boat or the latest car or Rolex or something like that.
Yeah.
That was it. And that's why I didn't buy them. And that's why I won't buy them now. Not that I can't buy them. It's just now it's not important to me.
Yeah.
Right? So there's that trade-off. Let's go to number 4, which is doing. And doing comes down to one of my favorite words is action. Right? So doing. So we got to actually go out and work. You got to bust your ass. You have to do the thing. I could have thought about investing $200K yesterday, but thinking about it will get me nowhere.
It's the doing.
You got to do the work.
Yeah.
You got to do the action. And I think what I've seen, right, because we're condensing this for all the people that's watching this or listening to this, here's the secret. Find out what people are doing, how much effort they're in, and go above that for longer.
Yeah, don't just match it.
No, you got to go above it. In my family, we have what we call the Fraser philosophies. And one of the philosophies is we always do more than what's expected. So one of my kids could come right now, except for the 2-year-old, because we haven't taught them yet, right? But everybody else, Tony, you could tell them, do 10 push-ups, and I guarantee you they will not stop at 10. I promise you.
Jeez.
I guarantee you, even if the 6-year-old walked in right now and you're like, Cruz, do 5 push-ups, I guarantee he would do 6 or more. All you have to do, like when I build my organization, is I found out how many phone calls most people made. Well, most people won't even make one phone call. Let's just put that out there. But the people who were where I wanted to be, I found out, how many phone calls are you guys making? And they told me, and I was like, oh, so I'll just double that. And I'd be like, how long did it take you to make X, Y, and Z?
Yeah.
And they would tell me 5 years, 6 years, or whatever. And I'm like, and you did that for making this amount of calls? They were like, yeah. And I was just like, well, I'm just going to double that, and I should get those results in half the amount of time.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like a no-brainer.
I mean, obviously, yes, it's like a no-brainer, but that's how it is.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we were even talking to, on our team, we have like a systems guy, right? Does our ads and does all of our landing pages and all that stuff. Brilliant young dude, right? 21 years old. And I don't know if you remember him, but I even asked him about this YouTube thing. And I'm like, bro, what's the deal with this YouTube thing? Like, why isn't it picking up the way that I want? And he was like, do you remember what he said?
I'm gonna let you say it, but
okay.
Yeah.
He was like, how many videos are you posting?
Yeah.
And I told him, and he said, well, post some more.
Yeah. Just that simple. Like, and I think we said like 1 or 2 a week, right?
Yeah.
And then, that's when he's like,
We'll post more.
Post more.
I was like,
Yep.
I was like, this young. It's funny though, because you can preach it all the time, but it's easy to forget what you're preaching.
Hollow.
So when he said that, I was like, bro,
Shout out to the preachers.
I was like, don't do me on me. Right? Like, I'm all upset.
Yep.
How come we're not getting any views? What's the problem?
Yep.
And he was like, well, how much are you posting?
Mm-hmm.
Well, post more. Like, oh. So the action here's what I want you to know. The miracle only happens in the action. Right? So whatever it is that you're doing, do more. Do more. Find out what the like average people are doing and double that.
Yeah.
And that's like that. Here's the thing about these D's is they're all pretty basic.
Yeah. Even now, as you saying that, there's no downside to doing more. There isn't. Like when I was trying to hit that PR, I was like, all right, I'm going to do this in 10-minute increments, like 10 minutes at a time. I'm going to warm up with a 5 incline. My next 20 minutes is going to be 10 incline.
Yeah.
And I remember getting close to that point, and I was on the phone with my sister while I was trying to hit that PR. Dude, like 40 minutes go by, and I'm like, oh, I'm chilling. I'm cool. So I could hit this. Let me do another 20 minutes.
Right.
Hit it. No problem.
Right.
Went above and beyond, and there was no downside to it.
Exactly.
If anything, I hit my goal faster.
Man, and it works in every area of life, right? In our relationships, we want more connectivity, right? We want more intimacy, whatever. We'll find out what is really important to them and do more of it.
Yeah.
Whether that's writing a little letter or a little postcard or whatever. You have a sales team. You guys aren't making sales as quickly as you want to. And we say, well, how much sales training are you doing with them? We just had this conversation.
Yep.
And you're like, I do 1 sales training a week. Not enough.
Yeah.
Do more. Right? If we're marketing, we're posting on social media or whatever, how much are you doing? Oh, I'm doing 1 post a week. It's not enough.
Yeah.
Do more.
Yeah.
Right? So I think when it comes down, if we want to see more miracles, then we got to do more work. And I've never, like, even when I'm sitting down with all these people that we interview, you know how I view them, right? I'm like, you guys are incredible. And they're like, no, but Jamil, like what you've done is incredible too. But again, I don't see me like that. And so when I sit down with them, I'm always fascinated. But I think the one thing that we hear from them is just like all of them, almost all of them, even if they're an attorney or engineer or whatever, like they'll say like, I'm not that bright, but the one superpower that I have is I will just stay on the treadmill longer than you.
Yep.
They all say it.
Say it.
Like, I'm not that gifted. I will just outwork you.
Yeah.
All of them say that. Every single one, even if they are super bright, right? I look at them, I'm like, you guys are really smart. But they don't see themselves that way. But all of them will say is, bro, if we're on a treadmill and it's me and you, and they say which one is going to quit first, I'm going to stay on longer than you.
Yeah. You said it yesterday. I don't know if you realize that you said it, but you said it yesterday in terms of like you knowing what you're going to need to do to get us to a projected 84 grand a month. We wrote it on the whiteboard.
Sure.
And you're like, it's just going to take for me to do this. And how you said, like, you went so many years without doing this that now we got to get back to it. And you brought up, you didn't say names, but you're like, some guys on social media. I see them. They're not killing it.
Right.
Like, respectfully, of course.
Sure.
Dude, if that was me 5 years ago, I would have blew them out the water.
For sure. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yep. It's doing more work. I love that. So I think that is our 4th D. Let's go to number 5. Number 5 is what we call delegation. And it is probably, okay, it's one of my favorite D's. And delegation is a blessing, but I could also see it as a curse. Because one of the reasons why you and I are having this conversation about this whole do the work and how you have to make a decision to go to the next level. Well, I told you every level brings new devils, right? And one of those devils is mediocrity, is comfort. Right, whether I'm losing weight, whether I'm lifting weights, whether I'm trying to turn my annual income into my monthly income, whether I'm trying to build up to my first $100,000 in my stock portfolio, or my first $1 million of assets, or whatever, right? Or I'm trying to get my first couple rental properties. Every new level is going to bring new devils, and one of those new devils is comfort. So I think one thing that's really affected me over, and this is what I was telling you, in my organization, I went hard in the paint. I'm doing the work more than anybody else. That's my only superpower, right? I'm absolutely crushing it every single day for like 6 years straight.
Yeah.
From basically 2012, we were broke. 2015, my income probably hit like, I don't know, 2015, maybe $20,000-$30,000 a month or something. We start buying some real estate, that type of stuff. And that's just for me getting after it. Well, then you start delegating, you start now creating a team, and you have all of these ninjas that are out there, and you're building teams around you, and you're building financial teams, and you're building teams around your home, and you now have nannies and house managers, and then later on we have avocado grove manager, like all this stuff, right? And now you're delegating so much, which is dope. But one thing that it does too is it gives your time back, which is a huge goal for most people, but it can also make you lazy. And that's the devil of comfort. So if you...
Laziness is the devil.
It is.
Yeah.
Right?
The Bible talks about that, having a spirit of sloth.
And that's exactly where I was going to get to. So when you take yourself out of... Think about the shepherd and the sheep, right? If I'm the shepherd, and Pastor Mo said this to me. Pastor Mo told me this. He said, I was like, I got to get back in there with my guys, but I haven't done the thing for so long. And he says, oh, you're the shepherd that forgot about his flocks.
Sheesh.
And he says, you probably don't even smell like them anymore, huh? Listen how these people talk to me.
That's crazy.
You probably don't even smell like them anymore because you've taken yourself out of the field for so long.
Yeah.
You don't even know what it smells like to have, to be in there and to be stepping in the mud and smell like the sheep smell, and to be directing them and doing what it is that they do.
Yeah.
Because you've just been delegating. And he says, you got to get back in there and actually be a shepherd.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
okay. I love that.
Okay. So I think that there is like delegation as a D is something that you must have if you want to expand, because there's only one Tony, there's only one Jamil, there's only 24 hours in a day.
Yeah. And
there's only so much that you or me can do in 24 hours. I just think about what's happening today in my own life. Like, it's absolutely, if people could actually just be here with us and see what's going on, it's crazy. I mean, there's so many moving pieces right now, and that's all able to happen because we have consistently built teams. And that's one thing that if you want to start seeing, massive growth, that comes from being able to duplicate yourself, create systems, and now to start delegating responsibility, so that if I have 100 Tonys, now I effectively have 24 hours times 100. Think about that.
Yeah.
Like, if it's just me, there's only 24 hours. I can get a lot done, but I can't get that much done.
Yeah.
But if it's 100 Tonys times 24 hours, now I have whatever that is, 24,000 hours or whatever the number is.
Yeah.
So just think about what can be done with 24,000 hours as opposed to just 24 hours. Think about that, right?
Yeah, that's wild.
Same thing with our money, though. Like, why would I have intense delayed gratification to not spend more than 70% of my income and now deploy 20 or 30% of my income because I need that money to go to work for me? Right? So when I'm sleeping, whatever, like if I made, let's just say $1,000 and now 300 of it is going to work for me, I could be asleep, but that $300 is still working.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
It's invested. It's going to double. It's going to triple. And now I have these coins, this dollar, this dinero, this feria, this plata, right? Now this is actually going to work for me as well. It's part of my team. This money is part of my team, just like you're part of my team, and all these other entities are part of my team. My wife is part of my team as I'm part of her team, right? So delegation, and when I wrote the 12 Shifts, this book right here, I had a chapter called Find Your 12, and that whole chapter is about delegation. How can you take the framework that Jesus used to move his mission forward? How can you take that and now start to implement it into your life, not just your religion? And our new book that's coming out, The Freedman and the Oak Tree, has taken Shift 10, right, Find Your 12, and now has expanded into a whole new book. So The Freedman and Oak Tree is all about using the 5 laws of leverage, the 5 laws of how you can get time and money and people and systems and all these people to work with you and to work for you. So delegation is absolutely huge, and I would encourage for the listener to build teams, man. Build financial team, build teams at home, build teams in your business, build team at your job, build teams all around you, because that's how you win really fast. All right. So we got delegation. Next D is your road dogs. When you hear that, what do you think of, Tony? Your road dogs.
Road dog. Yeah, I think it's your circle. It's the people that roll with you through everything. Like, I know right now, like, I'm not saying this is just hypothetical, guys, but I know that if I was gonna go and get into a little scuffle with another group of guys, I know who I'm gonna call.
Oh yeah,
like,
I think we all have.
Yeah, like right now, right?
Even if we ain't talked to him in a long time.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I could tell you, like, yesterday I told you about, the founder of the church that I grew up in.
Sure.
He passed away, rest in peace. But a lot of my old buddies that I grew up in church with, they were texting me and they were like, "Hey, what's up, man? Are you good?" Like 4 people. And I was like, "Man, bro, I haven't been to church in like 2 years." Yeah, I'm good. But I say that because those guys, like, were guys that I was like went through the mud with.
For sure.
In church and ministry. Like, we were the last ones to leave the church, to lock up. First ones there, like, early in the morning. And I probably haven't spoken to one of them in, like, I don't know, 8 months, a year. But again, like, them, like, they came from, this person, their obedience in starting this church. And my road dogs, like, there's some that for sure you don't even have to talk to on a daily, but as soon as you pick up that phone, they're there for you.
Yeah. So we're talking about elevating, right? Well, we know in order to elevate, we got to separate. We know in order to have breakthroughs, we have to have breakups.
Yep.
We're talking about our businesses. We're talking about our finances. And I think what you're talking about, again, it's pointing us back to environment. Who are we hanging around? Who are we hanging out with? Yeah. Right? So how do I elevate? How do I move to this next stage of life? Well, I got to position myself around my road dogs, my partners, my homies, right? The people that I'm around. And I think about in my own journey, we started off on Section 8 housing. And for those that don't know, Section 8 housing is when the government says we're going to pay for a portion of your living and we want you to pay for a portion. And in some circumstances, the portion that they pay could be the majority of the portion. So if rent was $1,000 a month, they might pay $900 and you pay $100, right? And so that's where I started. That literally was my environment. Now, where I'm living, you can imagine the people that are living around me are in similar situations.
Mm-hmm.
And so now this is now creating my community. Well, in the communities are powerful because we have things that social psychologists call synchrony. So I'm going to sync with your norms, your customs, your beliefs, and you're going to sync with mine too. So we're going to start speaking like each other, called vocal synchrony. We're going to start walking like each other. We're going to have the same swag. We're also likely going to have the same belief systems, right? We might even have we're probably going to have the same religion. We probably are going to have the same political beliefs, right? Like, this is just how human beings do because we're communal creatures.
Yeah.
And so we moved from there. My mom made probably the best decision that ever happened to me, was moving us from that environment and moving us to a different environment where we were still in Section 8 housing. Mm-hmm. It just happened to be in a more affluent neighborhood.
Mm.
And now I'm in schools around kids whose, their communities have different norms, customs, beliefs, so on and so forth. So you start adapting, you're picking up those sorts of things. And then we move up and we move up and we move up. And then, of course, I moved to a neighborhood where we bought a $2 million house. And then those people have different norms and customs and belief systems and so on and so forth. Yeah. And then you just keep going up, right? So the interesting thing about your road dogs is to be conscious of them when you're an adult. When you're younger, there's nothing you could do.
Yeah.
Right? Your environment is your environment, and you're probably there because of where your parents are or whatever. But as an adult, we usually are not conscious enough to pick ourselves up and place ourselves in environments to where it's going to be more conducive. So what does all this mean? What's interesting is I always say zip codes eat people. You always hear me say that.
Yeah.
And I say that because zip codes are so strong that you're usually going to pick up the same, you're going to sync to those different zip codes. So social psychologists have found, anthropologists as well, that based off of where you live, I can tell so much about you. I can tell what your socioeconomics are. I likely know what your political affiliations are. I likely know how healthy you are, right? What your BMI is, and I definitely know what your credit score is. I get all in if you are likely to be married or unmarried or a single parent household.
Yeah.
All of this just based off of what your zip code is. So what that tells you is that who we are around plays a critical role in where our level of success is going to be. So if I'm building a business or a company, like one of the first things that I did when I decided, okay, we're going to go all in with Think Life is Different, one of the first things I did was I joined a mastermind.
Yeah.
With one of the best in the industry. Why? Because it was important to put myself where? In a new environment.
Yeah.
Who are my new road dogs, right? And what we have learned, and even the business that we've gotten from putting ourselves in a new environment, all came because consciously I said, well, I'm moving into a new area. I want to be at the top of that space. Now I got to put myself around people that's at the top of that space.
Yeah.
Right? Your road dogs. What'd you think about that, T?
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm gonna always take it back to this, man. I'm gonna always take it back to this. But when I got hired at the gym, my coworkers, right, were like they couldn't believe like my story.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was like show them pictures, they were still like, bro, there's no way.
Mm.
And I say that because eventually they became like the cast that I wanted to work out with.
Mm-hmm.
Not just work there, right? They're like sales guys and they're trying to sell gym memberships and stuff. For me, I didn't care about all that.
Mm.
Like I wanted to be in that environment because I loved the fact that there was people just like me waking up at 4:30 in the morning
Mm-hmm.
to be at the gym by 5 to get to work for an hour and a half, 2 hours, right? To where now, like eventually, like, you know, my boys that I had around me, dude, we're like locked in at the gym. Locked in, you know, because again, when you want to achieve certain things, certain goals, you want to get to certain place just in your life in general,
Mm-hmm.
like you're going to surround yourself with people that are either already at that place
Sure.
that you're not there yet,
Right.
or they're climbing up that same ladder with you,
Right.
and you guys are all going to get there in one shot.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Me
I
too,
absolutely love that.
It reminds me of a story. You know, one of my mentors is a critical care physician, top in the industry, you know, heart surgeon, and just a phenomenal physician that has created a movement unlike anybody else would create, right? It's like the Elon Musk of the health industry. I mean, incredible man. I had a chance to go study with him in Annapolis, Maryland years ago. And I go up to his house. It's called Aquaterra. Gates open up, long driveway. And you drive down this driveway into this huge house. Beautiful, right? Bricks on the outside, but not just any brick. It looked like every single one was handpicked.
Yeah, like imported.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you go in and you take the stairs or an elevator. It's 3 stories.
Sheesh.
And so I'm walking around and all I'm doing is getting images of, okay, this is what's going to go in my house. This is what's going to go in my house. Welfare kid, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
I go into his garage, right? This is like 2016 maybe, right? Teslas weren't what they are now. I feel like everybody has a Tesla now, right? It's just what it is. I go into his garage. There's a Porsche 911. There's a Tesla Model S. And he says, tonight we're going to go into the city. Which one of these cars do you want to take? I'm like, bro, I want to take the Tesla. Nobody had them. If you had one, you knew that person was doing something.
Yeah, they had bread. Yeah,
they had some coins.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, we're taking the Tesla. So I go and I look around the house even more. His house is on the water, and I'm just taking mental notes. He's got a waterfall going from the top of the property down to the bottom, and I'm just taking mental notes. And I'm texting my wife Amanda, and I go, sweetie, when we do get to this position, I need water on the property. I'm serious. I go into his bedroom, beautiful. And in his bedroom, he has a wall that's just a whiteboard, a whole wall. Bro, I'm just taking mental notes. So a few years later, when we buy our property, you know, and I have our main house and I have our guest house and I have my office on top of this property, what do you think I do with my walls? I turn them into whiteboards.
Really?
What kind of car do you think I'm driving?
Yeah, you got that Tesla.
Driving the Tesla, right? What am I specifically looking for on the property? Water to be running through it. Environment matters. It's key.
Yeah.
Right? I wouldn't have never thought about all that stuff myself, but I'm just taking mental pictures. All right, if this brother could do it,
Yep.
I can do it too.
Yeah.
I can do it too. And it's just how it is, because what you see when you go to these different environments, or these people are different, but they're not different. Right? Like these
they bleed
people,
just like we do.
bro, they have the same insecurities.
They're same just 24 hours.
The same 24 hours, the same fights with their spouse, right? The same everything.
Yeah.
They're just normal people that do abnormal things for longer. That's all it is.
Yeah.
You know? So that discipline thing is huge, or excuse me, that your road dogs is huge. Last D, you ready for it?
Let's get it.
Last D is what I call dialed in. And you even talked about it just a minute ago. It's just how you and your guys were locked in.
Yep.
But the dialed in is your ability to limit distractions. And it's one of the hardest things to do.
Yep.
Right? It's one of the hardest things to do, especially in this day and age, where there's all these social media platforms. We got YouTube, I love it. We got podcasts, you're listening to it right now.
Yep.
Right? We got kids, we got jobs, we're building businesses, we got a political uprising, we got a lot of clickbait, we got folks from the left, we got folks from the right, we got tariffs, we got all this stuff.
Yeah.
How can I shut out the noise and just be dialed in? Very, very, very difficult. And it seems like it's getting harder and harder to do.
Yeah.
Right? Have you seen that?
Yeah. No, 100%. That's, to be honest, I think I've told you this. Dude, I've never, ever put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Right? Until I started working with you. Because I would tell myself, okay, this is a new opportunity for me. This is a new season. If I want new results for myself, I got to stop doing the same shit. Excuse me, language. But I would remember I would get so bombarded with phone calls from my family. I'm getting texts and DMs and snaps from all my friends in my circle and people, you know, and I love them to death. But I knew after my first week here, I was like, oh yeah, dude, I gotta lock in. I gotta dial in. And one of my biggest distractions, this thing right here.
Yeah.
This $1,300
For sure.
freaking thing, right?
Mine's been jumping off. I see it right here, right? I see it. And every time the light goes off, something in me wants to.
And that's exactly why exactly why I put it on Do Not Disturb about 99.9% of the day, because I know just how easy those distractions can be. Yeah. And especially when I'm editing or I'm back at home in El Centro, it's such a trip. But when I'm there, like it's a different type of like environment for me. Like I know that once I just get over that hill and I'm back at home, I'm going to be locked in, like I'm going to be dialed in, because I don't have as many distractions. I don't have my family, you know, I love them, but I don't have them, you know, my little nephew coming in trying to play. And I love it. Don't get me wrong, there's a time and a place, you know? But I knew how important it was, like when I started coming here. Sure. Because also even the engagement, like the engaging conversations that you and I had, and I was like, dude, this guy's like challenging my thinking. Let me start putting my phone on Do Not Disturb, and let me let some people know that, you know, hey, I'm shooting a podcast today. You're not gonna hear from me probably till about 4:00, whatever, right? So yeah, cutting off all those distractions, and it was very difficult, but I know that this right here. Yeah, I wanted this more. Yeah, there it is. I wanted this way more. Yeah. Like, yeah. What I love about this is when I talk about being dialed in, I also talk about seasons, right? So you're dialed in season. And one of my mentors always shared with me, you know, you have fall, winter, spring, summer. You have these different seasons. Yeah. And you have the same thing with life. You have the same thing with business. You have the same thing with investing. You have the same thing with money that you're going to earn. You have the same thing with your kids.
Like there's just these different seasons. And when I talk about being dialed in for a season, those seasons can change. A season can be a couple weeks or a couple months or a couple years or a couple decades. When I'm talking about your dialed in investing season, I'm talking about, can you be dialed in for 20 years, for 25 years? That's a season in investing. The biggest thing we got going for us in investing is time. That's why if we start young, if I start investing when I was freaking 20 and I'm 43 now, bro, do you know how much,
My God.
even if it was $500 a month, do you know what that would be right now?
Right now,
If I had spent 23 years of being dialed in with $500 a month, do you know how much that would be? Right? So the season is what we're after. And being dialed in, you talked about it. So how do you be dialed in? One of the things is you got to let people around you know what you're about to do. Like for me, I'm, and I haven't had this conversation with my wife yet, but she knows that there's seasons to where when I say it's time, I'm about to go all in. What that means is that I'm probably going to leave the house for a week or two. I'm probably going to get a hotel somewhere away. And I'm probably going to have one of my mentors be with me every single day on a Zoom call. And I'm waking up early and I'm going to sleep late. And I'm limiting every single distraction. And I'm just me.
Yeah.
And it's me versus me. And this is a dialed in season, right? And what it means is I'm about to do everything and put the maximum amount of effort in this time frame so that I can have massive breakthroughs. And again, to have massive breakthroughs, you have to have massive breakups. So giving people the heads up that, hey, this is where I'm at, but this is where I'm about to go. You're about to see a different Tony. You're about to see a different Jamil.
Yep.
Right? The next time you see me, I'm going to be 30 pounds lighter.
Yeah.
Right? The next time you see me, we're going to provide so much value that equates to we have 4,000 new followers. Right? The next time you see me, I'm going to have invested an additional $10,000. The next time you see me, that I'm taking my income from, $5,000 a month to freaking $10,000 a month. Like, and those seasons might be different. It might be 4 months. It might be 60 days, right? It might be 30 days. It might be 4 years. It might be 10 years. But that's the type of focus that if you want massive success, that's what it takes. And you see it all the time. Like I look at LeBron James right now. What's up, Lakers? Let's go. And the guy is like 40, 41 years old and still top 5 in the NBA. How? So dude is locked in.
He's been holding that for over a decade.
For like 2 decades.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think this is his 20th season or something.
Yeah, I think so.
I think he spent more time in the NBA than he has outside of the NBA.
Yeah. Yeah, because he got drafted out of high school. Yeah.
Which is crazy, right?
Yeah.
But he's been that dialed in for 2 decades, probably longer than that. But that's how you get to the top. That's how you break through really fast. And don't be afraid to pay for it. Like, you're going to have to pay to play regardless. You're going to either have to pay in dollars or you're going to have to pay in time. Right?
So real quick, what does that mean? Because when that's one of my biggest things when I went to music school in LA. One of the things that my instructors used to teach us, and it was right in Hollywood, dude, but he would say, "Oh, there's an opportunity for a pay to play."
Sure.
Right. So that means we would pay the venue for us to play on stage.
Sure.
So, but
So why would you do that? Why would you pay the venue for you guys to play?
Yeah, it was for that exposure.
Exactly. And what can you do with that exposure?
I mean, depending on how you set yourself up to receive that exposure, that can be the difference. Shout out to the difference. That right there would be the difference in what's going to make you like make or break, but also separate you from the guys that aren't paying to play.
Sure.
And they're going to like take maybe not as long, but take longer to get to that place where because you yourself paid, you yourself invested into yourself, into your squad, into your people, whatever, to the venue. That now is a direct result as to getting that exposure.
Sure.
And you're just you get there in a sense. I guess you kind of get there faster.
You get there faster,
right?
You get to sell it, right? That's what you get to do. Is you get to sell it, and you get to sell it in lots of different ways, right? You get to sell it in the press. You get to sell it on social media. You get to sell it to the next venue. Hey, we performed here. Hey, this is who we shared the stage with, right? Everything, perception's reality, fortunately and unfortunately.
Yeah, that's good.
Right?
Yeah.
So pay for the shortcut. I told you, the minute I decided, okay, all right, Think Life is Different, let's go. I joined some masterminds. I got myself around some people that other people know. I had already been around people that other people know. It's just not in this space.
Yeah.
Right? So it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean as much. But you get around yourself with some people that other people know. You post some videos about it. You post some pictures about it. We just had someone reach out to us and said, "Hey, I wanna do a podcast with you or whatnot." And I was like, "Cool." And he asked me, "So do you know such and such? I thought I saw on your Instagram that you knew such and such." And I was like, "Yeah." And the guy told me, that's how I knew you were legit. Isn't that amazing? So that's what we're paying for.
Yeah.
We're paying for human psychology.
That's so good. It's such a trip, but like you said it. You said you're either paying it with money or you're paying it with time.
Sure. You pay for the shortcut.
Literally this was a week before I had met you, and I told you I was going to go to Arizona, or I told you after I met you, but I told Sabrina, I was on I saw her ad, right, that you guys, the Help Wanted, that she posted for your old neighborhood Facebook group. And it was, I talked about how my aunt had screenshot it and then sent it to me. Literally that night, I was getting all of my gear ready to bust this mission to Arizona that I knew I was going to be up for about 20-something hours. But I didn't care because, like, I was going to go and shoot some content for an Instagram influencer, right? Shout out Justin LeBoy. And I remember reaching out and I was just like, "Hey, I see you're in Arizona. I want to go and shoot some content for free." That right there is pay to play.
Sure.
It's all free work that I did.
Exactly.
But the crazy part is I'm one of 5 people that are tagged on the video that got that was completed. And then Justin LeBoy's on there with 7 million followers. And then Snoop Dogg, like, you know, and then along with, shout out to, Alex, the guy that was running the whole content, the content strategist or whatever. But yeah, it's you're either going to pay actual like currency or you're paying with your time. And the result of it was just, it's just such a trip because when people saw that, they automatically assumed that I was somebody.
Right.
Dude, I'm this little freaking chubby kid from Oceanside, bro. Right. Like, I'm nobody.
Of course.
Right? But it's perception's reality.
Perception's reality, fortunately and unfortunately.
Yeah.
And it's what you're paying for. Think about it, man. Like, even our students that come work with us, love them to death. Some people don't want to pay to learn that in which we teach. And it's fine. Everybody is on their own journey. But I think about what I was doing in 2013 and 14 and 15, which was sitting in a little apartment studying how do I invest in real estate?
Yeah.
How do I invest in notes? How do I invest in the stock market? How do I, in going out and actually taking the risk of hiring people for $27,000?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm doing all this. So when you pay to come be part of one of our programs, all you're doing is you're paying for years of experience that's condensed into sometimes just one day.
Yeah.
Right? If you can get the transformation in 30 days and not have to take 10 years,
Yep.
that's what you're paying for.
Yeah.
You're paying for the time. Right? Like, it's taken me, like, look what I think about in the last 10 years. I have built an organization that, has done over $30 million a year in revenue, over $300 million in total lifetime revenue. I've taken my own money and built real estate portfolio. I have millions of dollars in the stock market. We invest in structured notes. We invest in startup companies. Do you know how much experience that is? Like, I just said a whole bunch of stuff, not even talking about the books that we've written, not even talking about different contracts that we've got, not even talking about raising millions of dollars for our partners and startup companies, right? Like, not even talking about all that stuff. So when you come to us, you're getting all of that condensed in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Either you're going to take the next 10 years and learn that stuff on your own, or you just partner with somebody who's already done it and can teach you and show you how to do it in a couple months.
And you just never know what comes from it. Like, I could imagine, right, what you had to pay to play. Not just financially, but even with your time, right?
Sure.
But even now, like, I'm looking at this whole setup, right? We got 3 cameras. We got a nice little backdrop, like everything, the lights. They can't see it, but there's a bunch of moving boxes everywhere. And I think back to some of the clips that I saw when I was doing my research on before if I wanted to come and work here, right? I was like, oh, dude, he's been on HGTV. How the heck? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you don't know what comes from those opportunities.
Right.
Like, and I think that a big part of it is, all the 70s, right, that we've just compiled into this podcast are all, like, as long as we follow these steps, or as long as we take and we really listen to what's being said right now amongst these, dude, I can't even imagine the opportunities that certain business owners, entrepreneurs, if they just take these and apply it, like, and they cut out the distractions, they do the action, they have that delayed gratification, all of it, road dogs, everything. I can't even imagine, like, the opportunities that are going to come knocking.
Yeah.
I can't.
So, yeah, man, I mean, we just took the last 10 years of what it takes mindset-wise and condensed it into, whatever this is going to turn out to be, an hour or so. But I think why I love this podcast is I love having conversations with the people we have conversations with. But what's so interesting to me is, as I'm speaking with them, they're all saying these 70s, all of them.
Yeah.
In some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, if you don't know the last episode. The last episode, shout out to Patty. Patty talked about delayed gratification.
Oh, my goodness. So much so, right? So let's go through them again. She talked about making a decision. They all do.
Yep.
At some point in time, I made a decision that I was going to be X. And with that decision, I left. There was no other option. This is what I am going to do.
Yep.
Not I hope, not I pray, not I wish. I am going to do X.
Yeah.
Whatever that is. You put that in there. Yep. Losing weight, making millions, building this company, marrying that girl, Like, I am doing this.
Yeah.
It was just a decision. They all talked about the discipline that it takes, right? And how do we get it? I have to force myself to break patterns.
Yeah.
I have to recognize that the patterns are there, and I have to be conscious enough to say, I am not going to eat that damn candy bar. I don't care.
Yeah.
I am going to wake up at 4:30 every morning, and I'm going to do 100 push-ups or 100 sit-ups or whatever the thing is. I am going to do that. They all talked about delayed gratification. I'm giving up what I want now for what I want most. And I'm going to do that for X amount of time. They all talked about they just outworked everybody. They will stay on the treadmill longer than you and me. That's it.
Yeah.
None of them think that they're that smart.
Yeah.
Even though we look at them and we're going to be like, bro, you guys are super smart. They don't see themselves the way that we see them. They really think that their superpower is their ability to outwork you. They all have gotten to a place where they started delegating. They realize that they are their worst enemy because they limit the amount of success that can take place in a day. So whether it's with their finances, whether it's with their family, with their businesses, everything, they build teams around them, right? And they really are conscious of their environment. Who am I around? Who are my road dogs? And they realize that zip codes eat people, right? So I need to consciously go out, try to get in front of this doctor guy that's in Annapolis, Maryland, see if I can get invited to his house so that I can see what do people that have freaking $15 million houses, like what's in there? What's behind the gates? Like, what are they doing? They even call their houses different names. His was Aquaterra, so I called mine Think Life is Different. Right? Like, got the floor mat and everything. He had the floor mat, I'm getting the floor mat. Right? So I got to change my environment, and I have to be dialed in. There are different seasons. I have to realize what season I'm in, how long I think the season's going to be, and whatever that length of time is, I need to make a commitment that I'm LeBron James in it. Like this is just what it's going to be, right? And I'm gonna have to let people around me know that this is what I'm about to go do. Prepare yourself, because you're not going to see the same Tony.
Yeah.
You're not going to see the same Jamil, right? And I might have to shut the world off so that I can go accomplish the thing. And people will say, well, what about the balance? I really need for people to hear that there's always a trade-off. Okay? Like, there's always going to be a trade-off. And that's why you got to decide who you want to be. When we hear about, you rarely hear about billionaires that haven't had 2 or 3 divorces and whose kids talk to them on the regular and like are really excited about them being their parent. Why? Because there's trade-offs in life.
Yeah.
So this is why the individual needs to think about what's important to me? What do I want to accomplish?
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm telling you, to build something to where you have $3 billion, you're probably not going to be tucking the kids into bed, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, right? Like,
Yeah.
Michael Jordan probably was not doing dishes and was a soccer coach.
Yeah.
Right? And driving the kids to school.
Yeah.
Why? Because there's trade-offs to be Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
There's trade-offs to be Elon Musk. So that's why we got to decide, who do I want to be? And then realize the trade-offs, which a lot of times you don't know. That's why we need to be careful what we ask for real.
Jeez, yeah.
Right? But those are the 7 Ds, man. So hopefully this episode, this conversation of the difference has brought you a tremendous amount of value to condense the last 10 years of what it takes mentally and cognitively to build something very, very special and to go to that next level in your life, in your business, and in your finances, definitely in your investing. And I think that's episode 4, man.
That's it.
Yes, sir.
Episode 4.
Locked and loaded. Let's go.
All right.
Let's go.
See you on the next one.